All right, we're back. I'm Adam.
I'm Dan.
And we're here to review Deadpool 2. I'll let you start this one.
I mean, I love Deadpool 1. Deadpool was always one of the iffier prospects for a movie because of the whole fourth wall thing and just his general style of, being kind of irreverent and crazy and it's basically like you have a comedy action film as your superhero movie. And then the first movie came out and it was like picture perfect. It was it captured the spirit of Deadpool. It captured the dialogue and the attitude and everything about him. And then this movie, comes with more anticipation then because the first one worked so well. And I would say very much I'd put it on par right about. Because it's not necessarily better than the first one. In fact, there's probably a couple of places where it's weaker. But for the most part, it met my expectations, and I had a fantastic time. And it was so funny, and it was, surprisingly well acted in parts. There's, it's not a tearjerker, but, there's parts where you feel something. Mm. And, you understand, there's a journey that Deadpool is going through emotionally. And, as crazy as he is, as wacky and fourth wall breaking as he is, they don't push it to the wayside. It's not like they just say it and then, bring it up once in a while. He very much goes through, an emotional change in the movie, and you feel it. And it's very well done.
The best way I think I could describe this movie in a way, I do agree with you. I think it's on par with the first one. I don't think it's better. I don't think it's worse.
Right.
The one way I'll describe it is that where the first Deadpool movie was about how Wade Wilson became Deadpool, and then it's very much Deadpool movie. Yeah. Deadpool's movie. This movie is very much Wade Wilson's movie in a way.
Yeah.
He there's a lot of time spent with him without the mask and going through how he's feeling and what's going on with Wade Wilson, not Deadpool.
Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it.
And that was very surprising going into the movie. Now, granted, when he's put on the costume and he's Deadpool, it's still fantastic. Yeah. He's still funny. He's still quick-witted. He still has the fucking jokes and the fucking laughter and the fourth wall breaking and everything. But there is a more emotional side to Wade Wilson's story.
Yeah, acknowledging that he has flaws and weaknesses and limitations, but wanting to be more than that.
Yeah.
To be more than just, the wisecracking mercenary who kills people. Mm-hmm. He wants to focus himself toward doing something worthwhile. Yeah. And he finds a cause and he starts fighting for it.
Josh Brolin as Cable was fantastic.
Yeah.
We just got to talk about
we finished talking about Josh Brolin. Very much one of the best parts of Avengers also.
Yeah.
In this movie, he's great. This, unlike Avengers, which we argued was at least partially Thanos' movie, this one is really not Cable's movie. No. He's very much a side character, but he's a well-done one.
He's a well-done one. He gets the appropriate amount of screen time and stuff like that, and they do go into his origin and kind of give him some character development, and it was really well done. He ended up being a lot better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Some of the side characters from the first movie, like T.J. Miller's character, the blind lady, and Dopinder.
Dopinder.
Yeah. They all kind of take a back seat almost, but they're still in the movie. They're still in the movie though a bit, but it was nice to see basically fresh new characters for Deadpool to interact with, and I don't want to spoil anything about the X-Force, but the way they handle it is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
and
I will say that the standouts probably would be Domino.
Domino is the standout for sure, easily. And she has an interesting power where luck is her superpower, and the way they play with that in the movie is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it makes for great. Deadpool even calling out at one point, it just doesn't seem like a very cinematic superpower, and then you see all this amazing stuff.
All this amazing stuff happen, and it's fucking great. And I don't know the actress's name who plays her, but she's really good in it. She's very really likable and fucking really likable and charming in the movie to the point where it's I wouldn't mind, obviously, seeing her in the next Deadpool. I wouldn't mind seeing her
in the next Deadpool or anything that spins off of these. Because one of the interesting things, it is technically taking place in the X-Men universe. Yeah. It's just kind of off to the side.
Yeah, and they have a lot of fun with that. One of the things I'll say, this is a spoiler, but not kinda, in a way. I'm not going to reveal who it is. But there's kind of a surprise villain in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the only downfall of this film, I would say, in a way, is where like the first film has a clear villain in Francis.
Yeah.
Where this film, it's kind of a mixture of like Cable, kind of the kid that they're protecting in a way, because he's kind of like, he's like an adolescent boy, so he's kind of a villain in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of. And it's all about Deadpool trying to reach him. And then the surprise villain who doesn't show up until about like a third into the movie.
2/3 probably.
Yeah, 2/3 into the movie. And like when that villain does show up, it's amazing. And he makes an amazing entrance. And fucking Deadpool has fun with it.
Yeah.
And it was great to see this villain. Again, I'm not trying to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen this yet. But it is a villain we have seen before in the X-Men universe. In the X-Men films.
Yeah.
And it's a
villain, he wasn't quite done justice.
He wasn't done justice, where in this film, I'm not going to say he's done perfectly, but he's done much better.
And it was cool. It's like you said, it's cool to see him on the big screen done well.
Yeah. Where the first one is more of a simple A to Z type of story, is very focused. This one's kind of not.
Yeah.
It's kind of at times is a little all over the place. And that's kind of it's a negative towards the film, but it's not like it takes like shifts through like the main story a little bit. Like it just doesn't seem that focused, but they do eventually find back their way that they need to be going on. So stuff like that, and there are jokes that do kind of drag on a little long. I know we were talking about one in the car when we were on the way home. We were talking about one that really was being dragged on.
That really dragged on, and then there was one involving a character like and their like transformation, and that like got old real quick too.
Yeah.
And like there are a couple that are not the best.
So another negative I'll bring up really quick is the kid, basically the kid that he's trying to save from Cable. They don't do a very good job of making the audience give a shit about this kid.
No.
And in contrast to that, it doesn't make me believe why would Wade give a shit about this kid.
Yeah.
Because even though like Wade keeps telling the kid, I know you have a good heart and everything, the kid just acts like a little shit throughout the whole movie, to the point where like I don't understand why Wade would think he had a good heart. I mean, the quickest explanation I could give on why Wade cares about the kid is because they establish he's being abused in like the foster home he's in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only thing. After that, like the kid does nothing to like basically be likable. Yeah, he's just a little shit. And like he gets Deadpool beaten up in prison for no reason.
Right. And it's one of those things where like you understand it because he is a kid who's been through hard times. It's like it's it's not that I don't understand what why he's like that, but like it's a movie. You're still supposed to throw in the little heartfelt moments that make you feel for him, whereas they really don't. They just show the annoying parts. They don't,
yeah. And, like, that's, like, the whole thing was that's one of the downfalls of the movie, or one of the bigger negatives I have in the movie, is that I can't buy into why would Wade give a shit about this kid. The other big negative I have, which is the one that last one I'll touch on, because after this I have no other ones, is the special effects are not the best at times. And when I say not the best at times, I actually mean most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, in the first half, where there's not really a lot of special effects heavy shit going on, like the first half of the movie, it's fine. But, like, the second half of the movie really gets into, like, really special effects heavy.
Yeah, it really just becomes one set piece after another.
Granted, like, in the first movie, the special effects weren't exactly the best either, but, like, they had like a $40 million budget to make a superhero movie, where the average superhero movie costs at least now $200 million, and it's like, so they worked with what they had and it worked. They did the best they can. Whereas in this movie, it feels like as if they're making a sequel, but yet they still have the exact same budget.
Yeah.
And then, because it was the first thing I saw. The first thing I saw that kicked me off to this was when Colossus first shows up, and I'm looking at him going like, in the first movie, he looked a lot more well-polished than he does in this movie. And I don't mean that, like, in a pun term, meaning because he's chrome. Right. I just mean he looked better in the first movie, as opposed in this movie, he looks a little more, like, a little more... Basically,
he looks a little more like a video game.
He does. And it doesn't get any better from there, because then the surprise villain shows up, and he's completely CGI. And a lot of the big action sequences that involve cars and shit flipping over and shit blowing up, that's all CGI. And I can't help but feel this feels like PS3, PS4 graphics. Like when you see it, even though they were noticeably not good, like not the best special effects, they weren't Sharknado bad to the point where it takes me out of the movie. They were just bad enough to the point where I noticed, but it did not take me at all out of the film. Yeah. It kind of, in a way, you kind of said in the car on the way home, it kind of works for the Deadpool movies.
Right, because Deadpool has this kind of atmosphere of being a little irreverent, of being being kind of against the normal comic book thing, or in this case, against the normal superhero movie thing. And so I'm a huge fan, and these movies, they get Deadpool. They get Deadpool, they get Wade Wilson, whether you think of them as the same person or different personalities. They get it, and they handle it very well, and the humor is awesome. The action is good, and especially in this movie, the interplay between the characters. There is genuine chemistry there. There's some good, relationships that they build, and I like it. And I think, very much like we said earlier, I put this on par with the first one. It's not necessarily better, but it doesn't do anything, massively worse. It doesn't go a step back. So I don't remember if we were actually doing reviews at the time. I don't think we were. So I can't say I'm giving it the same one, but I'm going to go right ahead and give it an 8 out of 10 because it's the sort of movie I encourage you to see if you like comedy, if you like action, and if you like Deadpool, even better. But
wait, once again, no difference in scores.
Sorry.
I too am gonna give it we are not Siskel and Ebert. That is for sure. I too am gonna give it an 8 out of 10. That's what I gave the first movie when it came out back in 2016. I think that came out. Yeah, 2016. It's the same score I gave it. I don't think this is better. I don't think it's worse. I do think it's on par. It's very much the same way I felt about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Where that came out, a lot of people were like, oh, this is not nearly as good as the first one. And I was just like, no, to me, it's just as good as the first one. And that's kind of the consensus with this almost, with some critics. Critics are like, well, it's not as good as the first one. I'm like, no, it kind of is. I mean, it's not exactly like the first one. It has problems.
Yeah.
But in terms of those problems and then the positives, completely outweigh the negatives in a way where it's just I think it's just as good.
Yeah. And as much as I like the first one wasn't perfect either. So
and it was great to see that it's not like they just redid the first movie.
No, they're very much trying new things.
They're trying new things or adding characters and seeing basically what works, and the movie works for the most part. Yeah. So to recap, we both give Deadpool 2 an 8 out of 10. It's definitely one of the best films of the year.
Oh, definitely.
I would say. So that's going to do it for this review. So please, thumbs up the video if you like it. Please subscribe to our channel, and please leave a comment and let us know what you thought of Deadpool. So that's going to do it now for this batch of reviews. We just
finally
we just reviewed 5 movies in a row, even though they're going to be 3 separate videos. And we are going to be back with Solo.